How much is my manufactured home worth? Hey guys, this is Brad. I am a real estate investor. I am the owner of Arborview Properties, which can be found at arborviewhomebuyers.com and gamobilehomebuyers.com. The links are down below in the description. So today I want to talk about what a mobile home or manufactured home is worth. So I'm an investor. I'm also a licensed real estate agent in the state of Georgia. I buy properties all over the state of Georgia. I've bought mobile homes, manufactured homes in North Georgia, South Georgia, East, West, you name it. Bought homes all over the place. So I've learned a thing or two through the School of Hard Knocks over the years. So I want to talk about, how do you value a manufactured home? Obviously, like anything, the value is what someone is willing to pay for it, right? Well, some things affect the value of a mobile or manufactured home. The number one thing that affects the value is the financeability. And if a mobile or manufactured home is in a park, it is basically like a car, and it is a depreciating asset. Over time, it continues to lose value and lose value and lose value. There is a point, just like cars, where the values kind of stabilize, right? But the value still at that point is still very low. So just understand that is a depreciating asset. The only way to get it to become an appreciating asset is to put it on a permanent foundation and permanently affix it to the land and retire the title, where it is then considered an improvement on the land. You can check out my other video about retiring titles in the state of Georgia. If you have a manufactured home or a mobile home and you want it to maintain value, first of all, you got to maintain it. Especially some of the older units, if you don't keep up with certain maintenance, they can deteriorate very quickly. The older ones were not quite built as good as like a normal stick-built house. The newer ones are actually built pretty well compared to the older ones, so make sure you keep that in mind. Also, if it is not financeable, there's quite a number of factors that can make a unit not financeable. Number one, like I said, the title's not retired. That's not to say that you can't finance one where the title isn't retired, but you're not going to be able to get a loan with any of the major banks, major FHA, VA, USDA, Fannie, Freddie. None of them are going to loan money or a mortgage on a manufactured or mobile home here in Georgia where the title has not been retired with the T234, and that doesn't have an engineer certification on the foundation and doesn't have a HUD label verification. You got to make sure you have all those three. If you do have all of those three, the good news is that you can probably sell it. Also, depending on the age, older stuff, they will not, anything prior to 1976, you're not going to be able to get a loan on that. So when you can't get a loan on something and buyers can't borrow money, you're basically dependent upon cash buyers to buy the property from you, or you're dependent on you seller financing this to a potential buyer. And obviously that comes with its own pitfalls, right? If you're seller financing to a buyer, you got to make sure you're vetting the buyer properly. What if they default? There's a lot of risk involved in that. I do a lot of that myself, but I know how to sort of analyze and vet that risk out, and I know the factors and the things, and we have systems and processes to vet borrowers when we are selling things on seller financing that maybe a regular homeowner selling the property doesn't really know and understand how all that works. But I've done it enough where I've learned, got burned a few times where I know what to look for, what not to look for. If you are selling this that way, if it's financeable, it's going to be worth more money. Also, a plus, earlier this year, well, actually, technically it was last year in 2023. I'm making this video in 2024. In 2023, there was actually a law, or not a law, but it was a sort of a guideline that was approved by HUD, the Housing and Urban Development Group, which oversees sort of the government-backed loans. And they basically put out guidelines that allowed appraisers to use sticks and bricks houses, stick-built houses, not manufactured houses, as comparables to a manufactured home if it's sitting on a foundation, it's permanently fixed, and all the above. They can use sticks and bricks homes as comparable sales when they're doing appraisals. What does that mean? Well, that means you have a lot more houses to choose from when they're doing an appraisal, and the likelihood of your appraisal coming in higher are going to be better because you have more options to choose from versus if you're just doing appraisals on a manufactured home, the appraiser might be only able to find one or two comparables in the area, and maybe that was like a below market cash sale, and you're kind of screwed on your appraisal because, that wasn't exactly the best, but because they had to use manufactured homes on the appraisal, they had no choice. So that is a plus in determining the value. If that manufactured home has ever been relocated away from its original spot where it was originally set when it came from the manufacturer or the dealer and went to its original location, if it gets moved again to a second place or a third place, in most cases, it is not financeable through government-backed loans. There may be some conventional lenders who might do it, but in many cases, they will not, in which case now you're dependent on a cash buyer. Your buyer's options are limited in terms of financing. So then your ability to sell it at a top dollar price goes down at that point. Not to say that a cash buyer doesn't come in and offer you some crazy amount for it, because that's absolutely possible, right? But in many cases, because your buyers are limited, you're going to get less money for it. So if you want to get an appraisal on your unit, it'd be best to actually reach out to a licensed appraiser and have them appraise it. If it's just a manufactured home in a park, the best way to kind of determine value is to go around and look on Facebook Marketplace and look on, whatever on the internet and figure out what people are selling their units for around you. That's going to kind of give you an idea. You want to look at comparable manufactured homes to yours in terms of age, style, size, bedrooms, bathrooms, all those things. You want to make sure that you're picking comparable properties that are kind of very similar to yours, as close to yours as possible. And that's going to give you the most accurate representation as to the value of yours. You can't just pick a number out of thin air and expect to get that for it. There's some valuation science into that. And that's how, we kind of evaluate things. If you're selling a property and it needs some work, you can sell it as is to an investor like us. So I hope this video has helped you out. Like I said earlier in the video, we buy properties all over the state of Georgia. I bought a lot of mobile homes. I understand how this whole process works, and I've got a lot of experience in this. It's very complicated. It's a lot more complicated than a regular sticks and bricks house. There's a lot more balls in the air, let's say. So if you're interested in selling a property, we'd be happy to make you a cash offer on that property. You can go to gamobilehomebuyers.com or you can go to arborviewhomebuyers.com. There's links below in the description. And a member of our team will be back to you ASAP after you fill out that form, or you can pick up the phone and call the phone number there on our website, and we'll be in touch with you ASAP. So thanks again for watching this video. I'm Brad. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.